In the reading from the letter of St. Paul to the Romans, we have this reference to the Word. The Word, that is, the faith we proclaim, is very near to you. It is on your lips and in your heart. The power of the Word is something else. Already in the first reading, we have this indication that the memory is part of our cult, part of our worship, part of our life. My father was a wandering Aramean. He went down into Egypt to find refuge there, few in numbers, but there he became a nation, great, mighty, and strong. And then we have this excursus, this autobiographical note with regard to the nation, that the nation renews when it comes to give thanks for first fruits, for food is what sustains life on a daily basis, and it's something that we need to bear in mind every time we open our mouth to receive. It is a good instinct to give thanks when we receive our daily bread, thus perpetuating until the end of our life what the Lord would have done with his Jewish people. Food, companionship was sacred. It was something that collocated the creature in his true reality, that of dependence. We receive breath, we receive nourishment. And when we are poor, when we are hungry, we are more dependent and aware. When we are full, we are self-sufficient and we forget. But the same is true also with regard to the Word. When we are full, we do not need any more. When we are like a vacuum, we absorb very quickly all that comes. And the desert is the vacuum. The Lord chose the vacuum, 40 days of vacuum. And we relive that in this quadragesima, which means 40 days, this Lent. Of course, the word Lent doesn't give us the notion that the quadragesima contains in the foreign languages, because it comes from a different root. It is the root of spring. Actually, it's the same root as lengthen, because it is in Lent that the days lengthen. We go towards the equinox. That usually happens towards the end of Lent, around the 21st of March. Spring equinox, time passing. And in Lent we go from a winter season to a spring season. It is a moment of genuine rebirth. The whole planet, at least in the northern hemisphere, is reliving something of the Easter that we are preparing for. Life is reborn from the death of winter. Just behind me I have New Grange, and in the winter solstice, 21st of December, there is that awareness of darkness and one ray of light coming. Hope. Where there was little hope for those who went into the dark, not knowing where they were going. We have hope. Now, with regard to that hope, it came to us at a cost and at a price. The Lord knew where he was going, and in this 40 days retreat, so to speak, he was confronted without any human distraction with the reality of what was ahead. In 3 years, his ministry would be played, and Calvary would happen as the conclusion and as the beginning of all. Our redemption happened on that sacred hill. But the Lord gave us the model with regard to the need for the vacuum. We notice that the Lord himself allows Satan to come at him, indicating by that the importance of genuine fighting with the forces of evil and not just banalizing sin. He indicates the genuine nature of the combat involved. It is cosmic, because immortal souls are concerned. Satan hates us and wants us, and of course he was very interested in the Lord himself, but he's interested in all those who do his work. and all those who give themselves to him. And the more of a nuisance we are to him, the more we are going to be tempted. So if we have no temptation or obstacle, it is not necessarily a good sign. We may be playing the devil's game. He may be using us as instruments of compromise. Sometimes we can find that when we do compromise, we are actually left in peace, and maybe we are doing the devil's work. If we are aware the devil hates the church, hates the truth, hates salvation, and hates the immortal soul, hates indeed Calvary and all the sacramental system, then we are aware of the cosmic battle that we are engaged in. If we willingly allow sin to happen and condone it, then we are part of the devil's game, who wants precisely collaborators in watering down and eventually harming and contaminating souls. We need to be aware that the Word has to be linked with truth. Logos, the Word is Christ, the incarnate truth, the second person of the Blessed Trinity. But truth, and truth is not divided. Well, in the East, they are very keen on this orthodoxy, this upright teaching, upright glory, this correctness, this straightness, this unwaveringness. We need to be aware that if they are fairly keen on not compromising, they are sometimes upset by the fact that we pander to those who have come out of us, I mean the Protestants. We need to be influenced by the firmness of our Eastern brethren more than by those who have come out of the Protestant Reformation and taken bits of the Word, but only the Word, and therefore are in danger of taking off that Word out of context and basing it also on human interpretation. As many pontiffs as there are preachers in practice, but we need to come to the sources. We need, therefore, when preaching, to be giving the Word and not our own. There are plenty of people on ego trips out there who are performing and playing to the gallery and precisely compromising, thus seeking popularity and not rocking the boat. But the Word is not heard. It could be a modern temptation with regard to the Word. So the Word has to be listened to, and how is that done? It is done by giving it space, precisely the vacuum of the desert. Space with regard to uncluttered and uncomplicated perception of the truth, which can only happen when we're taking in one message at a time. If we are open to the phone, the computer emitting all kinds of other messages and getting us at any time, then we cannot have that calm receptivity of the centuries. We cannot enjoy the peace of the scriptorium which the monks knew of old, when the Word was all in the silent cushion of peace. We are contaminated by too many words, and if one looks at one's day, one sees how difficult it is to have access to the power of undiluted words. Let us then listen carefully to what the Lord is saying when it comes to orientation of the soul. What did the Lord do in those 40 days? He allowed himself to be exposed to the cosmic forces. He was completely empty, and by that he was giving us the model of not cluttering our day. He was also giving us the model of our Lents to come until the end of time. We need to take this Lent seriously. It means coming apart physically. It means coming apart physically on a daily basis. It means coming apart physically also somewhere during the course of this Lent to make some kind of time of desert, some kind of retreat. There are places where that can happen. There are good monasteries and convents here and there. The only thing is that sometimes when one is engaged in a retreat, one finds that one cannot obtain silence. One goes to some monasteries and one is obliged to come out of silent mode to talk to other guests and retreatants, for instance, at table. It is far more powerful to find a place where one can actually be physically alone, at least with regard to silence, and not to have that small precious part of desert inquinated and contaminated by more of the human, because those conversations at table can be hugely distracting and take away from what the Holy Spirit is trying to do, for he needs peace and quiet to get through to an already bustling soul. I conclude, the Lord himself gave that indication when replying to Satan, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of God. Well, we need to listen and be nourished. We need to take in the word of truth coming from the sources of our teaching, the official documents of the church, not the latest preacher alone, and also to be aware the Holy Spirit can teach himself directly as the interior master when he finds an uncluttered soul wanting and thirsting, waiting and watching, hungry and empty, not half present because the other half is taken by the message coming to the mobile phone, but completely switched off from the horizontal and waiting for the vertical in the desert of complete, uncontaminated, peaceful and unchanged solitude.